Thank you for being here today. We had witnesses, residents in with us recently, and I know you've mentioned that 915 properties were damaged and critical infrastructure, roads, etc. And in Middleton alone, I think you said 74% of the properties that were damaged were in Middleton. Is that correct? So it seems either were those houses built in areas that they shouldn't have been built, or does it represent a systematic failure of the flood defences that are already in place? And if so, what has changed since the flood defences and those houses were built? How come such an impact happened in Middleton?
If I can, yeah. Well, the storm event of Storm Babette in October 2023, the volume of rain that fell over the 48-hour period, was 125 mil, unprecedented amount of water that fell, and and in relation to building on zoned lands or floodplains, or that's your question, I think. You know,
I suppose I'm asking: is that part of an issue, or
no? It's not an issue I'm aware of down there. No, I do know the Cork County Council, when assessing planning permissions, there is a very strict way of assessing in accordance with the Department of Housing and Local Government, risk assessment for flooding, risk assessments for mitigating measures that may need to be put in place. But it's not an issue that I'm aware of in Middleton.
Okay, so can I ask, so if this was absolutely unprecedented, so there's lessons to be learned here. Is this preventable if another storm, Éireann or whatever?
Yeah, we're designing the new flood relief scheme in Middleton to the storm event that happened during Babette. So the levels of rain, which is the 1/100 storm event. So we are designing. We believe that when we have that designed, it will be effective under the same scenario.
Okay. And so the millimetres or centimetres of rain that you have already detailed, would that flood defence, would that be 100%? I mean, you can have a guarantee, but is it likely to prevent the damage that happened?
Yeah, do you want to take that?
Yeah, just to say, Deputy, that following Storm Babette, we reviewed the proposed scheme design for Middleton in the aftermath of the Storm Babette event, and we found that largely, yes, it would have protected Middleton from that event, but with some small modifications to the scheme. So, and we have since made those modifications to the scheme design. So I can say that, yes, we're confident now that the design that we're bringing forward in terms of a flood relief scheme for Middleton would protect those properties that were flooded if we had a reoccurrence of that post-construction of the scheme.
Can I ask you, one thing that was clear when the witnesses were in here, one lady was talking, I can't remember her name, and she was saying, even when it rains, if it rains heavily, we're all on tender hooks and we're wondering what's going to happen. And they emphasised that they cannot obtain flood insurance. So that has left them financially exposed. And I'm just wondering, has Cork County Council or the Cork City Council and the OPW, have you done anything to restore the insurability of those properties? And will the works that you're intending to do, will they restore insurability for those residents, and also a timeline for those works?
So ultimately, decisions about insurance will be matters for the insurance companies, and they will take those decisions on a commercial basis. However, we expect that following the delivery of the flood relief scheme for Middleton, that once we provide the level of protection to the 100-year standard, we expect that that community would be eligible for insurance against flood risk. And we do liaise closely with the insurance industry in terms of the design standard that we provide for our flood relief schemes. And generally, the 100-year defence standard that all our major schemes are designed to aligns with the standard acceptable to the insurance industry. Now, there are some there are some concerns that insurance industries generally have when it comes to flood relief schemes. For example, they don't like the presence of removable barriers or barriers that have to be deployed ahead of a flood event, and they can bring some complexity to those considerations. But in the main, the standard of protection we provide is acceptable to the insurance industry.
And can I just ask on that, is there any residents, Cork County Council and OPW, is there any joint up thinking regards approaching the insurance companies? Because I know it's an insurance company decision at the end of the day, but the residents, one thing they were clear about is that that is a horrible scenario for them to be in at this present time. So do they have any supports from you to work with the insurance companies?
Yeah, I think probably the approach, the best line of approach to the insurance industry is through the policy lead on that, and that rests with the Department of Finance.
Okay, and have the residents themselves, have they received any practical supports from yourselves, psychological, financial, from the council or the OPW? Are they the people that have been flooded more than once who appeared before us?
So just to say, there are government supports, humanitarian schemes, support schemes for the community in Middleton would have received supports from government in the immediate aftermath of Storm Babette, and they are schemes that are considered in the aftermath of major flood events such as Middleton, and they were activated in the case of Storm Babette for Middleton, and supports were made available, yes, okay. both to residential recipients and to business recipients.
My last question was just the timelines for the implementation.
Sorry, Senator McCarthy, I think Mr Maher was indicating to come in there. Apologies now. Yeah,
sorry, just
you,
part of the other supports, Senator, that are being implemented as well by Cork County Council and the OPW are the provision of the IPP scheme. So the individual property protection scheme, where we're providing floodgates, etc., to the property.
Is that the 71 units that you mentioned earlier?
It's approximately 1,800 openings in what's the number of 700 odd 721 houses locally. So we are providing that also. Yeah.
Okay. So the timeline, the final question, the timeline for the implementation of these new flood defences that you're designing.
So currently in Middleton, the timeline there is that we intend to go to make a planning submission in Q3 of this year. So that's to on Commission Penala. The timeline from there on, then we'd have to wait and see how long that would take. That could be a year to 18 months. There is a design period after that again. So we're looking at a delivery of the scheme in Middleton, which I know is outside the scope of what we're talking about here now, but in Middleton we're looking at an end date of 2031 for delivery of that scheme. 2031.
31.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.